previous class we have discussed, we are left at this concept called HTML lists. Now what are these lists? Where user, if at all, if we wanted to make a kind of list, what are the data that he have, if at all if we wanted to make it in the form of lists, we usually use this HTML lists, okay. And there are two types of lists majorly we go with. One is ordered list, which is also termed as numbered list, and second one is unordered list, which is also termed as bulleted list, okay. And this ordered list we usually represent it with the OL. This actually we have discussed in the previous class also, but now I just wanted to know you again. So we are going to display it with the tag called OL, which stands for ordered list, and UL, which stands for unordered list, okay. And basically we use the other tag called LI, which is nothing but the list. See, something like this, we will use tag called OL. That means I am going to make use of a tag, I am going to make use of a list called ordered list. Ordered list is something like this, where we have ordered like 1, 2, 3, 1 dot APPLE, 2 dot banana, 3 dot kind of order. Okay, and whereas unordered list, you will not have any kind of order over there, but instead you will have this dots over there. Dot apple, dot banana, dot cat. Okay, so this is the major difference between ordered list and unordered list. So for that, let us see in detail about ordered and unordered list. So for the ordered list, we use a tag called OL, and we are saying that I am talking about ordered list, and what is the list that you are talking about? So for that, we use a tag called LI. Here is a simple example, like we all know this HTML body and H2 header tag, and then I am going to make use of an ordered list, that is OL, and in that OL, what is the list you should maintain? So that is LI. So for that we use a tag called LI, and then closing of LI tag. So here I am just using some coffee, tea, milk, etc. So closing of OL tag, and finally closing of body and closing of HTML. Okay. So this will be the output of your code that you have written. Okay. So now, what is the first list that as I have told you, it will be in the order like 1, 2, 3. So in my list I have coffee. Okay, so 1 dot coffee, and then in my second list I have tea as my second number. Okay, so that is tea, and my third number in the list is milk. So that is the milk one. So this is how you get as an ordered list. Simple thing. If you want to use ordered list, make use of OL. You are telling that I am going to use the ordered list, and open LI tag. LI is nothing but list. LI tag, whatever you wanted to mention it, and then close it. Again list, the second number, and then close it. Then again third number, so on, and then close LI tag. Finally, do not forget to close your OL. Okay. Same thing we are going to, now another important point, if at all if you want to make use of, instead of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, if at all if you want the output to be displayed as capital A dot coffee, capital B dot tea, capital C dot milk. Okay, so that means instead of 1, 2, 3s, we just wanted to make use of capital A, B, C. If that is the format, then simply use here OL type. We use the parameter called type is equals to, within the double quotes, A, and then close it. Okay, capital A. That means you are telling that I wanted to make use of capital A, capital B, capital C. In the same way, if at all, if you want to make use of small a's, then just within the double quotes, small a. That means what will be the output now? Small a dot coffee, small b dot tea, small c dot milk. Okay, and if at all, if you want to make use of any number, Roman numbers like 1, 2, 3 kind of things. So 1 dot coffee, 1 dot tea, 1 dot milk, something like this. So this can also be done in the ordered list especially. So in the ordered list you can make use of capital A, B, C, D's. In also you can make use of 1, 2, 3, 4. You can make use of small a, b, c, d, and you can also make use of Roman numbers. Okay, and then coming to this unordered list. Unordered list where you will not have any numbering kind of thing, any ABC, order will not be there. So for that, see, by seeing this output only you will come to know we will not have any numbers over there, any kind of order over there. You just have dots. Okay, unordered list. So what is the tag that you use for unordered list? As I have mentioned, the tag that we use is UL, unordered list. And what is the list, what is the actual data that you are providing will be displayed in between LI tags. Okay, so LI, coffee, and closing of list tag. Opening of LI, that is list, and then T, closing of LI tag. And milk, finally, do not forget to close unordered list tag. And finally, you will close this HTML bodies. And now, so this will be the unordered list output. Now, in MAM, if at all I wanted to make use of any square kind of thing, squares, coffee, square, instead of dots, if I want squares to be displayed, tea and then square milk, then what has to be done? Previously we have seen with OL, ordered list type is equals to within the double quotes A, within the double quotes 1, 2, 3, 4 Roman numbers. In the same way, if you want it to be displayed with respect to squares, square symbols, then we use here open UL space type is equals to within the double quotes just write square. That's it. And we also have other options like disk, dot, this is square, this is disk, and you also have circles. Dot, disk, circles can also be displayed in unordered lists. Okay? This is all about ordered list and unordered list. So on the whole, you have lists are basically used in order to, if at all, if data has to be represented in the form of lists. Then we go with the concept called HTML list, and there are two types. One is ordered and second one is unordered list. In both the lists, we use LI tag for listing out the data, and if it is an odd, if at all if you want to use ordered list, then you go with the OL tag. If you want to use unordered list, then you go for UL tag. That is what you need to know about this lists. And finally, this type. So OL type is equals to UL type is equals to. Why do we use this type parameter? So just to make our output to be displayed in our known pattern, in our known fashion. Okay, if it is 1, 2, 3s, or if it is dots, if at all if you want capital A, B, C, D's, then you will have to make use of this type. Okay. So that is what the task that I have given you. So disk, circle, square. So if you want this has to be done as an output, has to be displayed as an output, what you will have to do in the unordered list, just UL type is equals to within the double quotes circle. Okay, there is another important concept in HTML, that is div element. Div is nothing but a division element, which means which takes all the available width that is present, and also it provides the break before and after the line. It provides the break before and after the line, and also it takes the entire available width that it has. Okay, we'll see an example so that you'll get very clearly. Okay, so now this part we all know, HTML, body and the H1 tag, highest font size, H1 tag, and now I'm writing just a data hello, and then I'm using div element. Div stands for division element, as I've told you. So opening of div element, MRCET, closing of tag, and then CSC students. Now, what happens here? It comes up with the line break before and after. So initially the output, the initial data that I have is hello, and then I have used div element. That means it comes before, line break before and after that. So what MRCET will be displayed over here. That means I have a line break before this and after this. Okay, MRCET ki before and MRCET ki after. I am going to have a line break because I have used what? Div element. And another data that I have is the other data, other information that I have is CSE students. Okay, this is how your output will be displayed. So hello, and then I have used div element, and then, so that it has come to the next line, that is MRCET and then CSC students. Okay, and we can see many more things about this div element in the coming classes, but as of now you just make it as a note what it is exactly. Okay. And then coming to this HTML forms. Now see, when do we use this forms? Why do we use this forms? If a person wanted to make use of forms which indicates that he wanted to get the information, he wanted to know the information from the client. Yes, like his name, his roll number or his mobile number, his email ID, his college name, his mother name, his address, etc., etc., etc. If this information, if such kind of information has to be taken from the user, either from the client, then we usually go with the HTML forms. Okay, for that, whenever, that is what I have written over there. If you want to get the information from a particular user, what is his name, mobile number, so-called mail IDs, etc. So we usually use this forms. For this, we use a special tag if you are going to make use of forms. Then here we use special tag called form tag. Do not forget this. If you are going with forms concept, then you should always remember that one tag should come into your mind, that is, without form tag you cannot process your information. Okay, so the special tag that we use is form tag. Okay, so we'll see an example, simple example. HTML head, title, closing of head and opening of body. Now, as I've mentioned, form tag. Yes, in the form tag, what are we going to write now? Here, I am trying to know the first name of the user. First name of the user. So, I have just written the information called first name, and I have a special HTML element. We call it as an HTML element, or also a tag which is called as input type. What type of input that you are expecting from the user? Is that a text? Is that a number? Is that an email ID? Or is that a mobile number? Is that a password? So what type of data that you are using is going to be displayed with respect to the input type. Okay. So this is the special element that we use with respect to the HTML elements. Okay. So input type is equals to what type of data that you are expecting from the user. What type of data you are expecting? This is my first name, right? So that is a kind of text, right? So input space type is equals to, within the quotes, within the double quotes, text. Okay, and then I have another attribute called ID, name and placeholder. Very important attributes. Now these ID and names are going to be used with respect to your CSS style sheets, JavaScript. So we'll be using these IDs and names especially, and this name is used with when you are trying to submit your form, we go with this name. Okay, and IDs are used with your JavaScript. I'll be telling you, I'll be explaining you this in the coming classes, but as of now we'll give some ID to this form and we give some name to this form. Okay, so input type is equals to text ID to this first element. Okay, so text, and to this text I'm giving some ID, to this text box I'm giving some name. Okay, now what is this placeholder attribute? It just gives a hint to the user that what actually has to be written in the text box. It's just a hint we are providing it to the user. What has to be written in the text box? See, this is the grey color that you have, enter your name. It's just a grey color one, and it's just a hint for the user what has to be written. And once you start writing something over here, this placeholder value will be disappeared. Okay, you're just giving, it's just a kind of hint to the user what has to be written. Okay, so that is your placeholder. So in the placeholder, if I write just instead of this, if I write enter name, enter your name, instead of this your name, I have just written enter name. So what will be the placeholder value here? Instead of your, you just it will display enter name. We are just providing some hint to the user. Okay, and finally closing of form tag, closing of body tag, and closing of HTML. This is how you go with the forms. Okay, now I have given you some task over here. Add last name to the above page. Adding the last name to the above page, what will you write here? Here last name is equals to or colon. Now again opening of input, type is equals to, within the double quotes, last name will also be a text again, right? So text. Okay, giving some ID to this, ID is equals to some ln, name is equals to ln, and place holder is equals to enter last name. Okay, so adding the last name to the above page. So what will be the output? See, something like this: first name colon your text box and the placeholder value that I have given us, enter your name, and last name colon enter your name. Now if at all I wanted to make this last name to be appeared down to this first name, just below that. Okay, so what can be done? Just mention break over here, break that over here. So immediately your your last name will be appeared just below your first name. Okay, and this is what I've written. Otherwise, you can also make use of div element. As I've told you, it comes with line break before and after. Before and after of what? This one, first name and then the last name. Okay, so before and after this first name and the last name, you usually get the output. Okay. Alright, now as I've mentioned, as I've told you, there are different types of input values that we will be getting from the user. That it can be a name, it can be a text area where you want the user's address. He has to write some address kind of thing. Then you go with text area. If at all, if user wanted to write or enter the password in the form, then we use password as an input data type, and we have an email as an input type. We have a date also as an input type. So we'll be seeing all these things in this example program. Now, first name is done, last name is done, input type is equals to text box. I'm just using the text box. ID is equals to ln, name is equals to ln, placeholder is equals to enter your last name. Okay, and then I'm using enter your address. So for that address, we just go with text area. We will not have any input type for the text area, especially it's just an text area, and it comes with two important attributes. One is rows and second one is columns. Rows tells you the number of lines that you can enter. Okay, and columns, see or less, you not read entire thing. Columns indicates the number of characters that each line can have. Rows, how many number of lines? Columns, number of characters, kind of width. You are providing some width to your particular text area and closing of your text area. Is this point clear? Right. Next, and password. If at all whatever the data that you are writing, it should not be displayed to the user. Whenever you are typing something, it should not be displayed as a password, like something like this. Now suppose I have, this is my box, and now when I am typing something, it should be like dot, 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 dot. Right? So in such cases, we use input type as a password and give some ID to this input and give some name to the input, which has to be processed if in case after submission. If at all, if you want this information to be processed, then you go with this name and IDs. Okay, so now then email IDs. What if I write just MRCET and leave my form, leave my place with respect to email, but email has to be in the correct format, like @ symbol and gmail.com. Some format should be there. If that is the case, then you will have to use the input type as email only. It takes in only that type of information over here, and then giving an ID to this input, to this element, and giving a name to this element. And if at all, if you want to display date, a kind of calendar, then you go with the input type as date. ID is equals to, give some ID for this element and give some name to this element, date. And finally closing of form, closing of body, closing of HTML tags. So what will be